Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us, coming to you from Washington's premier indoor shooting facility. Of course, that's Security Gun Club right here in Woodinville, Washington. We will remind all of you, especially the hometown crowd, that we will be here live Friday, December 12th, 5 p.m. for our second happy hour. But America, we got to talk about the ATF. Now, I recognize that you all shiver when I say that. And no, this is not a video about how the ATF is going to get abolished. So if that's what you're hopeful for, this is not the video for you. But they are making significant changes. I think these changes are mildly good. I recognize many of you are going to be frustrated that we're even having to have this conversation to begin with, but I do need to get you all educated. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about ATF becoming more customer service oriented. Okay, America, listen, we got two big updates as it relates to paperwork and processes and things like that as it relates to the ATF. Now, I recognize that the fact that we're going to be talking about both the ATF and the NFA on this video will have many of you frustrated, because I think really about the only thing that would satisfy you is if we were doing a video about the ATF being disbanded or the NFA being abolished. This will be a video about neither one of those. However, as you know, through the big beautiful bill, there is significant changes coming to the NFA, including $0 taxation, and that necessitates a changing of forms. We're going to talk about that, as well as another form that many of you may be familiar with, and some of you unfortunately find out the hard way, which is the 5320.20, sometimes called the Form 20. That is the permission slip you must get before you take NFA items across state lines. Well, amongst the litany of new rules being promulgated by ATF in anticipation of the $0 taxation, ATF has also published a rule that is going to significantly change how the Form 20 is handled, and it will be now handled predominantly in exactly the same way most other ATF forms are handled, through e-forms. So you're going to have all the benefits of e-forms: easier to fill out, easier to submit, quicker turnaround times. All of that is positive. Now, the new rule specifically states ATF is revising this information collection to make the form electronically fillable and allow it to be submitted by email. Okay, that is big news, because sometimes people call me and they're like, oh crap, I got a hunting trip scheduled in a couple of weeks. I didn't realize I needed to do this. And at this point now, all of a sudden, we're in a crunch for time. It may not even happen. This should, in fact, cut back significantly the turnaround times. Now, remember, America, if you are transporting an NFA item other than a suppressor across state lines, make sure that you always get ATF's blessings through the Form 20. Okay, now, we also need to talk about a form that some of you may be familiar with, and that is ATF Form 1. When we're going to purchase an NFA item, we use a Form 4, but when we're going to manufacture or make our own NFA item, we got to get the blessings of the ATF and pay our, right now, $200 tax stamp, eventually $0 taxation through a Form 1. Of course, because everything is going down to $0 taxes January 1st, this necessitates a whole revision on Form 1 as well. And ATF and the Department of Justice has used that as an opportunity to make other changes. Now, remember, this is only for Form 1s. This is not for Form 4s. Some of the changes include just streamlining the process, further clarifying things, a whole new photo requirement that's going to streamline everything. But here's the big deal, and it's right down here, as you can see in the proposed rule. They are removing the Chief Law Enforcement Officer notification requirement and copy. All right, for those of you who've been kicking around with NFA items for a long time, you will remember that you used to have to get the Chief Law Enforcement Officer's approval and signature. That eventually was watered down, but you would still have to, in fact, send them a complete copy of the application and put them on notice that you were applying under a Form 1. That requirement is now going to be removed altogether on the new Form 1, which we presume will be effective January 1st, 2026. So those are the big changes coming to you effective probably January 1st as it relates to a couple of ATF forms. Now, does this streamline the process? Yes. Is this a move in the right direction? Yes. But I do recognize that while we're sitting here patting ATF and DOJ on the back, it's also in the same breath where we know that they are vehemently fighting like holy hell to actually uphold the NFA and doing other things that are also of questionable nature, which thus again proves that this may or may not be the most pro-Second Amendment Department of Justice in the history of our country, but it absolutely positively is the most bipolar Department of Justice in the history of our country. But hey, at least now you know that your new and improved ATF is at least trying to become more customer service oriented. Okay, listen, we're going to go link up a bunch of stuff down there in the description box so that you don't have to take our word for it. You can geek out on it for yourself. If you got any questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. But if you don't, that's okay. That information's down there in the description box. If you got an idea for a video we should be doing around here, you click on that link right there and you tell us all about it. If you want to subscribe to the monthly newsletter, that information is down there, right there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, America, let's everyone remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.
Therein lies why we say in the legal defense sector that we are the most value-centered, cost-effective legal defense in the space, and we are. There's no question. Now, again, I've said before, we've got great competitors out there. They have outstanding products. We admire them. They paved the way for us. You know, we analyze the folks out there that are doing the same thing we're doing, and we took some great ideas from them, and we went down a path of believing that we were going to do it with a service aspect, a servant's heart, and we have again. Our number one goal has been to serve others first in a way that the industry hasn't seen.
Right to bear, that's right, legal protection for self-protection. Listen, good lawyers aren't cheap, cheap lawyers aren't good. You're not truly prepared unless you have right to bear back you. You will always get an attorney-answered hotline, so you will always have a confidential phone call. There are no cap limits for either civil or criminal defense. This covers all forms of self-defense. So from a fist to a firearm, from a fat lip to a dead body, you are covered, and you will have some of the nation's most passionate 2A attorneys in your corner fighting for you. And right now, if you visit my friends at protectwithbear.com and you use the promo code WGL, you will receive 10% off. Listen, you need to protect yourself so that you can protect them. Visit my good friends at protectwithbear.com.